Morning, FPCD. How are y'all doing? Good, good. So today's sermon title is called Women of Promise, Used for a Promise. And we're going back to Proverbs 31, 25, and 31. Now, this is not my normal, typical sermon, okay? This one's a little bit off the pulpit, This is a little bit something geared more towards the mothers. Now, fathers, if you just go ahead and be real, y'all identify with some of this too, all right? So what we're looking at today is the various women that God used in the Bible. And each woman had a promise, and they were used for even a bigger promise, all right? As we look at motherhood, we realize motherhood is not just a role, it's a calling. How many of y'all knew that, to be a mom, you're called? Think about your kids. You think somebody else can put up with your kids? That's a calling. There are women that God had a special promise for, and what I loved about it is no matter what the circumstance was or what the person went through or how things turned out, God still had a plan for them, and God still used them. So as we look today, we're going to look at a few women that God used. And today, mothers, ask yourself, where do I see myself in this story? Okay? All right. So the first person we're going to look at is Eve. Eve is the mother of all living things, as we look at Genesis 3 through 4. In this story of Eve, even though she did wrong, God still showed her grace. How many of y'all can see that? She sinned. God didn't take her out. God didn't put her back to sleep and say, hey, this is your punishment. But God showed her grace and allowed her to live out her life. She still represents every mother who feels the weight of failure and regret. She knows what she did wasn't right, but she made a choice, right? A lot of us, we know what we're doing wrong, but we still make our choice, and we have to live with that choice. And sometimes the choice that we live at is way heavier than probably picking another choice. But God, one thing I love about God, God did not cancel his plan for her. She became the mother of all mothers, no matter how you look at it, no matter what she did. Whenever we go back to the first mother, who's the first mother? Eve. And today you can take home with this. Mothers, even though you make mistakes, your mistakes do not disqualify you. Even though there's something you're living with that's probably very heavy to carry and it just keeps coming up in your past, God didn't disqualify you. He still has a plan to use you. And this is going to go by pretty fast, all right? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each person. The second person we're going to look at is Sarah. This is probably one of the mother's favorite thing to not to like, and that's waiting. She's the mother that had to wait. She had to trust in God's timing. Even though she laughed at the promise and struggled with doubt, later she got Isaac. She was promised a kid. She had to wait for the kid, but way sometime later when she was in her 90s, I think it was her early 90s, here she has this kid. And she represents the mothers who are waiting on answers, healing, or you're waiting for a breakthrough. You're just waiting for something to happen. Lord, I'd just be glad when you told me there was a promise, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'll really be glad when this comes, Lord, because I'm a little bit tired of waiting. How many mothers there are kind of tired of waiting? Sometimes you're waiting for that one child to kind of grow up and stop getting in trouble. Or you're waiting for that one daughter to come back home and get herself straight. Or you're just waiting on your husband to kind of make up his mind what he's going to do or to kind of get himself straight. Mothers, you're just sitting up there waiting. What I want y'all to know about this is God's promises may be delayed, but they're never denied. God has not denied his promise to you. Trust God even when a timeline doesn't make sense. That's for Sarah. Okay, Forgive me if I mess up this mother's name, okay? Jochebed. All right. This is Moses' mother. This is the courageous mother. She had to let go and actually trust God. This mother released her son Moses into the Nile, trusting God with everything she had and what she loved the most. This represents the mothers who entrust their children to God's care. What I love about this story is in life there's a lot of things you're not sure if you should keep or not, right? But there's been time in your lives where you actually let things go, and God actually brought that thing right back to you. She released Moses. Moses was in God's protection, but Moses ended up coming right back to the mother. Sometimes to show your faith, it just means letting go and let God. Are y'all kind of following what I'm doing right now? Because there's like 20 mothers on here, so I mean, if y'all got time, I'm only at number, 2? No, just that. Oh, y'all are counting. All right, thank you for being with me. Okay, let's look at Hannah. Hannah, the praying mother. The mother that has the power of prayer and surrender. We used to sing a song back at my old church, is I Can Still Hear Mama Praying. Nah, Nadia's the singer, just trust me on this one. And the song goes into the prayer that she said. It keeps living me, helping me live day to day. I can still hear Mama praying for me. And this is Hannah. She's the mother of prayer. Hannah cried out to God, and then Hannah cried out to God and then gave Samuel back to God, which represents the mothers who fights battles on their knees. And they represent that once God gives me something, it is up to me to give it back. Kind of like Moses' mom, but just a little bit different, because you're not releasing a child out into the blue, but what you're saying is, Lord, thank you for this child. I commit my child back to you. At this time, women were not highly respected. So while she's praying, the priest is like, you're drunk. Why are you drunk? It's too early in the morning to be drunk. It's a lot of turmoil. It's a lot of stuff she had to go through. She had to endure her way. She had to push her way. Even the fact that the other lady beside her was mocking her because she couldn't have kids. Has anybody ever been mocked, or you had to stand the abuse of being mocked because something wasn't happening for you? You're praying all the time like, Lord, this isn't fair. Lord, please give me what I deserve. Please give me, Lord. And you're just constantly on your knees. You're praying and you're surrendering to God's will. But it seems like your enemy is doing so much better. And then one day, boom, God does it for you. Now, there's a lot of things that Hannah could have done when she got her son Samuel. She could have said, oh, Lord, thank you for this baby, and then runs off and then forgets about God, right? But she didn't. She knew where her gift came from. She turned around and gave her son right back to God. And God used him for even a bigger purpose. I would do a trivia quiz to ask you what was his purpose, but I'm not doing that right now. Just know that your prayers over your children matter more than you know, Mom. So keep praying for your children. Keep praying over your children. Even when you think there's nothing else that can be done, don't stop praying. How many did I say? 10? Okay. Next is Mary, the obedient mother. She said yes to God even though it was tough. Could you imagine an angel coming in your room in the middle of the night saying you're going to have God's baby? Now just do it. Be quiet. That angel didn't say that. All right. Mary accepted the calling, but she really didn't fully understand. But she cared, she nurtured, and released Jesus to his purpose. She knew she had a calling on her life, and it seemed very difficult. Sometimes some of the calls that God put on our lives seem very difficult to achieve. But thank God we have God beside us to help us, and he doesn't leave us. Could you imagine having a kid, and you're training this kid, and you're growing up with this kid, and I'm sure Jesus probably aggravated her. We don't know. Y'all know how boys do their moms. You know, they love to aggravate their mom. And, Mary probably looked up and said, this is your kid. You need to come down here and do something about him. There's no telling what was going on, right? But you have a mom that is loyal and obedient through the whole thing. And then she has to turn around and watch her son get beat and nailed to a cross. And at the same time understanding, this was told to me in the beginning. This is God's will, and I'm sticking through it. But you have a mother that even though she says yes, that yes is very unknown. Have y'all had some unknown yeses? Somebody comes to you and says, hey, we got a promotion for you, and you're like, yes. Because you don't really know what's going to happen with the promotion. Or somebody asks you to take in their kid, and you give a yes, but with the uncertainty of what's going to happen once I say yes. But you're still faithful, and you do it because you know God has a plan in that yes. It's not always going to be perfect, but God is going to be with you through the whole thing. God, if we could talk to Mary right now, and if Mary can say something, I guarantee you Mary will say, God is looking for a yes, even when times are hard. God is still looking for that yes. And the last one, number 6, the Proverbs woman, the virtuous woman, so they say. This woman is what they call daily faithfulness, or she's faithful daily. She's faithful in taking care of her family. She's faithful in waking up early in the morning. She's faithful to going to work. She's faithful to, getting the clothes done and making sure her husband has what he needs to be provided with, and then the kids have what they have. It's almost like, and I hear mothers say this a lot, I always feel like I'm last. I always feel like the last one to get new shoes, or I'm the last one to get clothes, or everybody else gets what I want. But I guarantee you, not only God sees it, but the family sees it. And this is why the kids and her husband are able to turn to her and call her blessed. They love her because they know that she is unselfish. And she makes sure that the family has what they need before she does. Now, every now and then, that mother gets that one day of the year to be rewarded, which is called Mother's Day, I think. And, she gets all this. She gets a dinner and maybe a foot massage for 23 years of service, right? But the family still looks at her and appreciates her and calls her blessed. And to me, I believe that's the biggest part that the mom wants beyond gifts, is that her family recognizes her and loves her. Mothers, what I want you to know is faithfulness in small things honors God. I always thought, just turning the story a little bit towards me, I always thought God had a sense of humor giving me 4 boys. Because I'm like, God, you must have lost your mind giving me 4 boys. Because I never thought I'd be able to take care of them. But what I understood down the line, mothers, is that when God gives you something and he trusts you with it and you take care of the small things, you honor him, and God will turn around and honor you. Your daily sacrifices, moms, are being seen by God. So, which woman are you? Where are you at? And even though you may not be a mom right now, are you a mother figure to somebody else that is near you? Is there somebody else that's looking up to you? Or somebody that honors the way that you keep pressing forward even though life is tough? Is there somebody learning from you? So are you like Eve, dealing with past mistakes? Are you like Sarah? Are you still waiting on God? Are you like Jochebed, learning to let go and trust God? Are you like Hannah? Are you praying through the pain? Are you like Mary? Did you say yes, but there's still an anxiousness and a nervousness about your call? Or are you like the woman from Proverbs 31 who faithfully shows up every day you're tired, you're weary, you need God to restore you, but you still keep finding the strength to move forward. God used each of these ladies not because they were perfect, but because they were willing. And they had a heart for God. Moms deserve miracles. This is something that the men in those times, they thought women really wasn't deserving of anything. They thought, women don't deserve blessings. Women don't deserve this. They just deserve to be servants. But what I want you to know today is that God thinks that you are very deserving of your blessings. And moms do deserve miracles. So moms, I'm sending you out. Women, I'm sending you out today. I want you to go, and I want you to walk in your calling, girl. You walk that thing, all right? Be reminded that God sees you, he strengthens you, and he is using you. So women, set a tone everywhere you go, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's in a church, whether it's in your household, or even at somebody else's house, because God is using you every day, everywhere you walk, and everywhere you speak has a purpose.